Hey guys. I found a clip I think a lot of you will enjoy. Instead of the normal Marc Rudov television interviews, this is a radio interview. Marc doesn't have to censor himself as much as he would have on TV, so he gets to say way more. This interview is quite long, so I have split it into 2 segments. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of the video.
99.9 KISW, the Rock of Seattle. It's the BJ Shea Morning Experience. Greetings, fellow H-holes. I am said BJ. Again, Double R was in a car accident, and we've just sent him to the hospital because he is delirious, thinking that he could do the show, even though he probably has some rib injuries, wrist injuries, and leg injuries. He shows up anyway. The guy is an animal. You know, total athlete, animal mind where...
Just not thinking clearly. I mean, obviously, something's rattled up there because he didn't even have that same look in his face. I mean, it was just like, okay, he's in a different planet right now.
Yeah.
Even like Kurt wrote in and said, you got to just get him to the hospital. The victim doesn't get a vote.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Well,
point.
we had Nick. Now, granted, Mono Nick might not be the best guy, but he was the only guy we had available to drive him.
Yeah, can we make sure, text Nick, make sure he does take him to the hospital and doesn't listen to whatever Double R says and brings him back to his house?
Yeah, Nick actually, should drop him off there at a hospital just so the company can, we can feel good about our lives. All right. So anyway, we were supposed to have Marc Rudov on earlier, but because of Double R getting in a car accident, we had, obviously to take an hour off. But now we got him on the line. And, Steve, are you ready, sir?
I sure am. Our next guest, he always does a great job on the Fox News channel, and I love it when he puts a mouthy chick in her place.
Neil, newsflash. Marriage is sickening.
Mark, first of all, maybe the women in relationships with you are sick, and certainly they would have higher blood pressure.
A couple of segments ago, you asked me to imagine being married to you. And ever since then, I've been hooked on Tums. So I think that's really where the sickness came in.
Please welcome to the show the no-nonsense man, Marc Rudov.
Good morning, BJ. Good morning, Seattle.
Good morning, Mark. It always is great to hear you on that show because of the fact that, man, it's funny. Those guys and those women that host the show, they don't even respond logically. You give them the good answers, and they still ask stupid questions or ask it as if you didn't answer them. It's got to be frustrating dealing with people who, for whatever reason, political correctness, don't want to call women out when they're misbehaving, and you're like one of the only guys that does.
That's right, because most men have vaginophobia.
There you go, vaginophobia.
That's right.
You've talked about that before. What is vaginophobia?
Well, it's obviously fear of the vagina. Fear of getting it, fear of losing it, fear of dealing with it. It's unbelievable. Why do you think Valentine's Day exists? Valentine's Day is not Romance Day, it's No Man's Day. There's absolutely nothing romantic about Valentine's Day, so why do guys do it? Why do guys do it? Because they're afraid that if they don't, they won't get laid.
You're absolutely right, Mark. It is always a holiday where I feel compelled and guilt-ridden, and I even have a trip I'm taking this weekend where, unfortunately, because of this trip I'm taking to help my family, Valentine's Day falls right in the middle of that trip, and I'm still feeling pressure to somehow figure something out, even though, look, I'm taking you guys on a trip to help you, but I better also have Valentine's Day ready to go as well. Come on.
And you said you feel compelled, and I think that's interesting because isn't that what love is all about?
Yes.
Compulsion.
Yes, love is all about compulsion and conditions, isn't it?
What I have, here's the image of the guy on Valentine's Day. Imagine a guy with his arm behind his back like this. Oh, here's your gift. I love you. Happy Valentine's Day.
And women don't want to believe that, Mark, but that really is what it is. Women look at us like, well, it shouldn't be that way, but they have no idea that that's how it is for us.
It's the most unromantic day on the calendar. Romance is about being spontaneous, it's unexpected, it's voluntary, and it's mutual. And Valentine's Day is none of that. If you listen to or watch all of the Valentine's Day commercials on TV, they're saying, make Valentine's Day more romantic for her and easier for you. You don't want to have a disappointed sweetheart. There's not one commercial that says, hey, ladies, why don't you go buy a new saw?
That's right.
How about a new cordless drill? Because what you get on Valentine's Day is pajamagrams, but what he gets is something to fix the house.
I know.
So again, you know what? The whole holiday could come to a screeching halt if men would just say no.
And
but
it's
they don't.
Yep. And Mark, I'll tell you though, it's indicative of our whole society. Men are totally mitigated in this society. We don't have the power to say anything. People don't think that men have any wisdom to offer. It is something what has happened to men because of the feminist movement that has gone out of control.
Yeah, I disagree with you. I blame it all on men. When you say men have no power, that's right, because they don't exercise any.
That's a
good
good point.
People are out there marching in tea parties. You've seen that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Men don't do that when it comes to women and child support and ridiculous alimony. They don't do that.
Why is that, Mark? I don't understand that because you're absolutely right. We are tough guys.
No, we're not. There are a lot of biological males and very few men.
Yeah.
And again, have you ever heard of a drug dealer paying an addict to take drugs? Of course you haven't. Your laugh says it all. So why would you pay a woman to have sex when she wants it more than you do? That's why women have vibrators. That's why they have hand showers.
Wow. Yeah.
So why do you think why does it make any sense to pay somebody to do something she wants to do anyway?
How did that happen to us, Mark? We're talking to Marc Rudov, by the way. Make sure you go to his website, thenononsenseman.com. And if you have any comments at all, ladies.
Yeah, ladies, call up.
Mark loves to take, because Mark believes that there's no way you can defeat any argument that he has. And, boy, I've seen him do interviews, and the women usually have to resort to personal attacks or not even responding logically to the question. I mean, they change the subject, Mark. You'll say, blah, blah, blah. You'll give some stats, and you'll always have great stats to back up what you say.
That's because women are not women are not educated about debate. This is what women are educated to do: wear short skirts and low-cut tops, and you'll get everything you want.
That's a good point.
Well, there's no lesson about debate in that.
And if they were fair about it, Mark, as a guy, if I would have no problem giving a woman what she wants if she didn't hold me hostage sexually, which, it's...
But she can't hold you hostage sexually. Here's a concept men don't grasp. You can actually say to a woman, "You're not getting laid tonight." A man can say that to a woman.
Wow.
Right. And I've said it many times, and they get pissed. Here's the thing. You asked before, how does all of this happen? It's very simple, BJ. Look at the way a boy is raised. One of the first things he hears in his home is, when mom's happy, everyone's happy.
That's right.
Then he hears, if your sister hits you, you're not allowed to hit her back. Then he hears, you can't ask a woman her age, her weight. You can't tell dirty jokes around her. You can't say bad words around her. And if you get laid, you're lucky.
That's right.
So boys are raised to worship women. And then you have poor suckers who are married saying, a happy wife is a happy life. So everything revolves around women because boys are taught a bunch of lies. You don't have to kiss a woman's ass. You don't have to put her on a pedestal. And these poor slobs who get down on one knee to propose, I mean, my God, they deserve to be hit in the head.
421-ROCK.
When a guy gets down on one knee to propose, he's basically saying, put the yoke around my head and control me for the rest of my life. It's like a dog saying, put on my dog collar. It's pathetic. But, guys, you always see guys doing it. Will you marry me? Down on one knee, as he looks up at her as the superior being. So when you ask, how does all of this happen, I think I answered your question. It's all around us. It's girls, 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 everything about girls. Everything in school is about girls. Everything in the legislature is about girls. You ever hear Barack Obama saying, and how about that single dad out there?
No, you're absolutely right. As a matter of fact,
single mom out there.
I've heard he's actually every Mother's Day every Mother's Day or Father's Day, Barack Obama will chastise all the men for the single parent problem, and it's like, how come you don't call out the women? They're the ones opening their legs too.
That's what's interesting, right? On Father's Day for the past 2 years, Barack Obama says, "Well, how come you guys are leaving your pregnant girlfriends?" But yet he forgets in Roe v. Wade it says it's her body, her baby, her choice. So why is he criticizing men for the choices women make? Because after all, a woman is the goalie of her uterus.
That's true.
But on Mother's Day, he doesn't say, hey, you girls out there without wedding rings on, how come you're getting knocked up?
Exactly. You know what,
Right.
Mark? These are questions that, and women always sit there and go, well, if you don't, you know what? If you didn't want to dance, without paying the band, you got to pay the band if you want to dance. Like, well, so do you. I mean, you're also the one that.
But it doesn't matter. They say it takes two.
Yeah.
But Roe v. Wade doesn't say it takes two. Roe v. Wade says it's her body, her baby, her choice.
You're right. You're
That
absolutely
should be
right.
Her wallet.
421-ROCK, 800-783-ROCK, and ROCK is 7625. So, ladies or any men, if you have any disagreements at all with Marc Rudov, feel free, because Mark he's one of those guys that says, bring it on. He has no problem defending his position and listening to anybody who has anything to say about him. But I would recommend, ladies, that, you know what, you be able to debate well, because Mark's good at it. 800-783-7625. Let's go to Cheryl in Puyallup. Cheryl, you're on with Marc Rudov from the NoNonsenseMan.com. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Okay, Mark, I'm going to admit right off, I'm not much of a debater, but you did raise my eyebrow about something. You're talking about women that, back to addict, paying the addict for drugs or whatever, and that women
Right.
want it all the time. And,
Right.
well, what about the women that, maybe this isn't going to be a popular opinion, but the women that work hard, maybe even go to school, have kids, and they're not in the mood. They just don't want it. And I'm not condoning prostitution or whatever, but
There's no such thing as a woman who doesn't want it. She just doesn't want the man. If a woman's with a man she craves, she wants it. If you don't want it, that means you're not with the right guy.
No.
Well,
no,
you know what?
Not true.
It is true. I've been with a lot more women than you have, and let me tell you, vibrator sales are through the roof, and they're through the roof for a reason. Women want orgasms.
And Cheryl, even if that's true for you, if you're the exception to the rule, that still doesn't disprove the rule.
Yeah. Women want sex. Women want sex, and that's why if women aren't getting sex, then they're going to be using their vibrators and their hand showers, because they're just not going to. They're not going to just stop because they don't have available men. But to say that women don't want it, it isn't true. I've known women who are corporate executives, are mothers, and they still want sex, even if it's 3 o'clock in the morning. There's no such thing as a healthy woman who doesn't want sex. If she doesn't want sex, she's with the wrong guy.
Not true. No.
Well, we're
Cheryl,
talking about Cheryl.
What are you basing? Cheryl, what are you basing it on? Just you?
No, a lot of.
Yeah, you are basing it on you, Cheryl, because it isn't true.
No, no.
Cheryl, listen. I've been with a lot of women. You're just wrong.
Why are there so many complaints about?
Cheryl, you're just wrong.
They don't. What?
Cheryl,
you're just wrong.
Cheryl, how do you explain? Cheryl, if you go into Lovers or Castle, I mean, probably 80% of the stuff in that store is for women and their vagina. How do you explain that these stores do so well when most of the products in there are to actually titillate a woman? I mean, Mark's got a good point. Maybe you're not that person, but women apparently love to have sex because those stores are mostly for them.
If you have a medical problem or a psychological problem or a physiological problem, you don't want sex. If you're a healthy woman, you're going to want sex.
I mean, Cheryl,
it's impossible to
Cheryl, you're not. Look, just because you know a couple of people by the way, unless you're in their bedroom all the time, you don't know what they're doing sexually, and you don't know if they're actually lying or being honest about their sexuality. But Cheryl, you know what pisses me off, and Mark makes a good point, is that why is it that when women are in an argument and we have statistics, I mean, those, like I said, Castle and Lovers, all those stores that are all over the country that if you go into those stores, we guys go in there and we go, oh, God. I mean, a lot of the stuff they sell are for women and basically pleasuring a woman. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's not many things in there for a guy. I mean, when you think about it, compared to what they have for all the women stuff and all the lingerie and all the stuff. And
yeah, I'm not going there to get a new towel holder. I mean, that thing is used for a certain reason.
The reason I wrote my book Under the Clitoral Hood is because it explains that women are more sexual than men. They're built for it.
It's very true. Mark, you're right. I mean, their orgasms are
one purpose.
Yeah.
Sexual arousal.
You're absolutely right.
A man has no body part that is 100% dedicated to sexual arousal. And a woman can have multiple orgasms and a man can't. You put those together, a man can't even compete with that. So
you're right, Mark.
if
They're
you're
just more picky
asexual-
than us.
If you're asexual, Cheryl, or if you have some kind of sexual dysfunction, you do not speak for the female population. Trust me, you don't.
Mark, do you have a little time to hang on? Because we got to take a break, but we got more women that want to talk to you. Marc Rudov, make sure you check out his website, thenononsenseman.com. He has written a lot of great articles, and like he said, of course, his book, Under the Clitoral Hood. It is, I'll tell you, there's a lot of great stuff in there, and Mark does have a lot of different viewpoints about why we men are in the situation we're in. And he does. I think he makes a good point. I mean, we're supposedly such a strong gender, yet who else is putting us under our own thumb but us? Because it just makes no sense. Yet, you talk to men and they sit there and they do cower when it comes to talking about women and having to stand up against women for your own self. More calls, questions for Marc Rudov next on The Rock.
This is the BJ Shea Morning Experience.
I didn't need a book to learn about sex. I learned from women telling me I was doing it wrong.
Call BJ now, 206-421-ROCK or 1-800-783-ROCK. The BJ Shea Morning Experience on 99.9 KISW.
.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. It's the BJ Shea Morning Experience. Greetings, fellow H-holes. I am said BJ. And boy, an H-hole is a person who speaks the truth. The H stands for honest, making you an honest hole for speaking the brutal and beautiful truth. And Marc Rudov is with us from the NoNonsenseMan.com. And boy, he does that, no doubt about it. He's really represented men well whenever he's been guesting on Fox News. And Mark, it's always a personal victory for me because every time they have you on, you keep your cool, and even though you get attacked personally rather than just addressed based on the facts, you do a great job for us, and it is amazing all of the men that do emasculate themselves in this whole process, as you said, and it is weird because I don't think we get that. I think we really feel like it's somebody else doing it to us.
That's right, and guess what? I've been on with you now for about a half hour. Guess how many manginas from Seattle have joined my mailing list?
Oh, really? You have a
Zero.
lot? Oh, zero. Oh, well, there you go. That's the power of that can be the power of our show, Mark.
That's the proof. That's the proof. I know they're coming to the website, but they're not joining the mailing list because they're afraid Mommy might find out or my wife might get mad at me. That's the problem. A few months ago, Maria Shriver proclaimed America a woman's nation.
Yeah,
remember that?
Right. You're right.
Look around you. You see bridges, highways, roads, airplanes, skyscrapers, all built by women, right?
Mark,
all built by women, right? Yeah,
Mark,
I go across the Golden Gate Bridge, and I say, wow, women did a fantastic job putting this thing up. It's great.
It's interesting, Mark, because here in Washington State, 200,000 more women are registered to vote than men, even though there's nowhere near that kind of disparity as far as the population is concerned. What has happened to us even when it came to voting, men were always the ones that cared more. Even, back in the day when women were fighting for, rights to vote, women surely just didn't care as much about politics. What's happened to us?
Here's what I think. I think when women gained equality in the workplace, it exposed men for the weaklings they really are. Men felt strong as long as women were baking cookies. But as soon as women got college degrees, and by the way, they get 60% of them now.
You're right.
When women started getting college degrees and competing in the workplace, men were exposed as weaklings and cowards. So, don't tell me you're a tough guy if your woman is at home baking cookies.
And Mark,
here's the thing.
Yes.
When the topic is Osama bin Laden,
right,
men are Rambo. But when the topic is women, men are Bambi.
Oh, I like that. Bambi and Rambo.
Yeah, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. And as I said on Neil Cavuto's show, the typical American man is built like a Ken doll, smooth between the legs. It comes down to tears, tantrums, and sex. He'll do anything to avoid her tears and tantrums and anything to get sex, and that is it in a nutless shell.
In a nutless shell.
Mark, I also, somebody told me this statistic, and I don't know how valid it is, but I was told 80%, because you talked about how women are getting the college degrees, and now it seems like schooling is definitely geared towards girls, and
right,
the boys have to deal with it. I've also been told that 80% of the children who are on Ritalin are men, and I'm wondering, that scares the hell out of me. What is being done to men at such a young age?
Well, that's because the standard of behavior in the school now is the girl with her hands folded neatly on her desktop. And when boys and girls are young, boys are very rambunctious and girls are not. So they want boys to be like girls. And if you look at the typical home now, it's either divorced or the woman never got married. And so the boy is completely estrogenized from the time he's born. And when he goes to school, he has female teachers.
Yep.
And why does he have female teachers? First of all, for economics. Second of all, for safety. No man wants to be around kids anymore, so to become a teacher is a death trap. And second, for economics, as I also said on Fox News, if a man goes to a party and a woman meets him and says, "What do you do?" If he says, "Oh, I'm a doctor," she thinks, "House in Malibu." If he says, "I'm a teacher," she thinks, "Chevy Malibu." so he's not going to become a teacher. So boys have, what do boys see in their lives? Mommy at home, teacher at school, men getting bashed in TV commercials and sitcoms,
yep.
Daddy living in a one-bedroom apartment broke. So why would a boy want to grow up to be a man, let alone get married?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Mark, you make a very, very good point.
And don't forget, all of the anti-male policies we have in our state houses and in the Capitol are enacted by men.
And that is amazing.
Because 85% of legislators are men.
And yet this is happening.
It's back to the vaginophobia. They're afraid of their wives. A senator doesn't want to go home at night to say, "Honey, I just enacted legislation to help divorced fathers." You did what? You sleep on the couch.
Yeah, I know. It is amazing. It really is, Mark. It's amazing how we have fallen this far, but you're claiming that we've always been this way. It's just that women never really had any power, so we were never challenged.
Exactly.
Wow, that's an interesting, I hadn't thought about it that way before.
Exactly.
So what?
Because I went back to, I forget which president it was, I wrote about this, back in it was either the 1800s or the 1700s, and there was a member of the cabinet, I wish I could remember it right now. There's a member of the cabinet who was married to a woman of questionable reputation, and the wives of the other cabinet members would not associate with him. So the president, I think might have been Andrew Jackson, said, "I demand that you associate with this other cabinet member and his wife." And the men were so afraid of their own wives, they disobeyed the president.
Wow.
So, because, God forbid she should say, "Not tonight."
Unbelievable. Mark.
A guy would rather hear, "You have to go into the Army," than "Not tonight."